Stop overpaying for everything in aviation. My friend and I flew his clapped out Cessna 150 from Florida to the Dominican Republic to get his plane repainted on a military base for cheap. We left from Palm Beach and headed directly east straight over the Atlantic Ocean. We brought life jackets and the required paperwork with us, but it was definitely jarring being out over the open ocean beyond gliding distance from any shore. About 30 minutes later, we saw land and started our approach into Freeport Airport, which we called My Girlfriend. On the approach into My Girlfriend, we saw a plane that was crashed, which is always really comforting. We landed and got fuel before dealing with the customs office. I've heard if you bring a gift or beer for the customs guys in the Bahamas, they'll be a lot nicer to you and your fees will be much less. But we didn't know that. We hopped back in the plane and started island hopping down to the Exuma International Airport for our first stop of the trip. I didn't really know anything about Exuma except this is where Fire Festival was supposed to happen, but we chatted with some of the locals at the airport and they gave us a free ride to our Airbnb. We bought them some food, met the local wildlife before heading to our place for an early night. We set out for an early morning departure, but the weather had different plans for us. There was a pop-up thunderstorm along our route that grew very quickly, so we diverted to a new island called Stella Maris to wait out the storm at this beautiful resort. The storm got worse, then it got better, so we headed back out. Radar services are super limited in the Bahamas and kinda sketchy, but we found a hole to get above the cloud layer and got back on our journey. On our approach into Turks and Caicos, we came in over a national park during golden hour, which was magical. But Turks and Caicos also costs like $1 million just to stay there for a night, so in the future I'd definitely recommend landing at the nearby airport that's still in the Bahamas. We got some super local Indian food and then headed to bed. The next morning we got some sun by the pool and then departed toward the final country along our quick trip. Our leg from Turks and Caicos to the Dominican was the longest one over the water, but after about an hour and a half we saw the Dominican Republic and even parts of Haiti as well. There were rolling mountains, incredible greenery, and sprawling city views coming into Santiago. It was incredible. We landed in Santiago where fuel was like $11 a gallon, but we didn't have to pay any customs fees, which was great. We got lunch at the airport for less than $1 while we waited for fuel and packed up for the last part of our trip. For the last leg, we flew up to 10,500 feet for absolutely no reason at all. Flying in over the city, it was hard to actually process just how big Santo Domingo actually is. We came in to land at the military base, which we had to get permission from the painter to land at. After we landed, there were like 20 military guys just sitting there waiting for us. It looked like they were doing security check. Turns out they're just taking pictures for their dating profile. It was cool to see a lineup of private jets that they'd confiscated from traffickers, but I promised them I wouldn't show that here. So what was the damage? Well, in the US, he was quoted $25,000 for a brand new paint job, and all in, the paint job was done for $7,000 and took about a month and a half to complete. Overall, I think they did a fantastic job and the trip was a blast. What do you guys think?